In this session, we will be talking about lesser known artificial intelligence, AI hacks, tips, recommendations for SEO strategies, and how to analyze data to see if these strategies implemented gave you any effect to your listings and your performances and your sales. And in this session, we'll have two great guests, two experts. It will be Stephen Pope and Brian Johnson. They both work a lot with Amazon sellers for many, many years, and they will be giving us those tips. But before we move on, I want to mention that this session is sponsored by two great companies. The first one is Getida. They are the global leader in Amazon FBA reimbursements and auditing solutions. So if you need help to get money back which Amazon owes you, check them out. The link and offer is below in the description. And another company is VAA Philippines. They help with the virtual assistant services for e-commerce sellers. And no matter where you sell, on Amazon, Walmart, other platforms, they will help you with social media, PPC, product research, full-time, part-time, whatever you need. Check them out. The link is below in the description. And this session is part of the SellerFest Online Virtual Summit, which we started because we want to celebrate 20,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and which we got recently. So please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And now it's time to invite our guests. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Brian.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Stephen, let us know what you do in Amazon space first, and then we will bring Brian back.
So a lot of respect for Brian. So I look forward to hearing from him today too. So my name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and we run about $1 billion of Amazon sales every year on the platform. My agency has about 548 employees, manage 400 brands. So that's a little bit about me. Today, I'm excited to talk about the integration of AI into product and listing research and keywords and all that good stuff. And today we have a special treat, because Augustus is going to pick the live product. I don't know what it is yet, and I'm going to do a live demo. So I'm excited for this.
Great. Yeah, Stephen Pope is known for doing like impromptu things. So he doesn't need preparation. That's great. And let's bring Brian back. If you're ready, please let us know what you do.
I am. That is so I guess that is actually the definition of choking on the spot. So that was amazingly that was fantastic. So yeah, to your earlier question. So Brian Johnson, been in space for about 10 years, was most known for advertising in PPC, and kind of like Stephen is like, eventually we figured out, it's like, okay, what works, what doesn't, what is commonly stated in the community that is right and wrong. And we decided we're going to take a stand. Now we obviously went in, quite a bit different directions, but what I have focused on in the last year and a half is developing new data analytics and competitive intelligence technology for the sole purpose of improving search rank and holding search rank. So literally like having that kind of like situational awareness of a product niche to say, here's exactly where all the different search rank factors are that you have for your product. Here's how you measure up to each of your competitors. So, okay, I need to improve on just a slight bit in a bunch of different areas in order to not only beat everybody in search rank, but then to hold that. And I do stand by that claim.
Well, thank you very much. I see people joining from India, Pakistan, and I'm sure there are more, 30, 40 people more watching us. And now I think we are ready to start with presentation. So Stephen already is sharing his screen. So he will do, so Brian, see you in about 20 minutes. And afterwards will be a turn, and later we will address questions in the chat. All right, Stephen. So here is your screen. Give me the whatever I need to do.
Okay, so first thing we're going to do, you're going to pick a product. I don't know what it is yet. You tell me what it is.
Okay, the shopping trolley. It's a trolley which you
shopping trolley. All right. So for those of us in the United States, a shopping trolley is what I assume you go and push a grocery cart around. Is that are we on the same
No,
page?
no, it's the one which you like for all the people, to put products in the trolley and then they bring home, so they don't need to carry on the, as a backpack or.
Okay, so I'm going to ask AI. So the AI today I'm going to use is Perplexity. I am not even using a paid one. This is the free version. So if you guys want to follow along or do this with me, all right. So this is what it's pulled up. So this is what in the United States I'd call a shopping cart. So which of these items are we actually? Am I on the same page?
Maybe it is the picture with colorful rainbow thing. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's Dolly. Maybe it's called Dolly. Something like
Okay.
that. Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Shopping dolly, maybe?
Maybe.
All right. Okay. So let me do a reverse image search, maybe. Search image with Google. Let's see what they're calling this. Shopping trolley. Okay. Isn't that what you said? Yeah. Shopping
I
trolley.
said
Okay.
trolley. I thought it's spelled a bit differently, but
Okay. All right. All right. So now that we got the product selected, it's good for me to verify I'm picking the right product, right? So half the battle in Amazon is sourcing the right thing. So what I'm going to do with AI today is I'm going to take this and I'm going to say Amazon, or say Perplexity, tell me the top selling shopping trolleys on Amazon along with the estimated sales. And let's see what pops out. Okay, so it's going to do some research here and it's going to list them out. So we have a foldable shopping cart for groceries. That's exactly what we're looking for. All right, so AI failed me a little bit here. So we got to adjust the prompt. The thing I like about doing this live is because you can see my thought process. And so when AI doesn't cooperate, we have to retool it. This is going to happen to you when you're trying to get to work with AI as well. Okay, so when I did this last time, I was able to get a list of the products. So give me the specific 10 ASINs and titles of the top 10 selling products on Amazon for shopping trolley. Okay, let's see if it gets me a better response this time. It's got links. It's got ASINs. All right, heading the right direction. I like it. So one of the things I'm going to do is look at the right here. You can see these are the pictures that are in line with what Augustus was suggesting. So we're in the right place. Perfect. So that was step one. I want to know what the market looks like today. And what I'm going to try and do is narrow down whether this is a good product and what we could do with it if we're going to launch this product. So we've got ASINs, we have titles, and we're in the right vein here. Cool. So now the next thing I'm going to do is just give me the 10 ASINs, nothing else. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I have another tab with Cerebro if I need it, so I can paste it in and get some Cerebro juice. But I'm going to try and not use anything except Perplexity today, but that's just in case if we need it. So now the next thing I'm going to ask is, what are the top 3 keywords for this product based on those 10 listings, based on search volume and buyer intent sales? Okay, and then it's going to shoot me out 3 keywords: folding shopping cart, grocery cart, collapsible shopping cart. So the reason why I like to start with like the top 3 is because this will help me know like what kind of product to go get, how I'm going to shape my keyword strategy. So understanding, the top 3 to start with, very important. Okay, so then I'm going to say, cool, now I want to know, give me the top 50 keywords as well as their search volumes for this product. Let's see what it does for me. All right, so that's pulling in some garbage here, right? Argos is getting all over the place. So total fail here. So the reason why I grabbed those 10 ASINs was in case, so we can show you where AI is going to fail, where it's going to be okay. So off screen right now, so I'm going to stop my screen and represent so you can see my entire screen because I have to switch windows here. Okay, so pull that back up for me if you don't mind. And I'm going to grab these 10 ASINs and go to a second tab. All right, copy and paste fill there. Get that out, deleted, and paste in the ASINs. We're going to get the keywords. Okay, and so I'm using Helium 10 Cerebro. This can be done with pretty much any keyword tool. Don't have to use this one specifically. This is just my preference, ease of use. And we're going to fetch some data. Okay, so while that's fetching, I'm going to go back to the prompt and keep working this. And my goal is, what are the 3 common biggest complaints in the reviews of these 10 items? And the reason we're asking this is because we want to know how to position the product, maybe a key feature we want to go into. So wheel quality, bag durability, and overall build quality. Okay, so now when we're asking questions about how we're going to source this item, how we're going to make it good, these are the things that you're going to want to make. And then we're going to build a listing to speak to those things, because this is actually reading the physical reviews on Amazon to help understand it. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over to Cerebro, see how this is coming. It says incorrect ASINs. Nice. All right, well, let's make sure these are actually real ASINs now. That's making me wonder. All right, so let's go back to our ASIN list. I'm going to scroll up and look at this. So I'm going to grab this, go over to Amazon, type the ASIN in, make sure it's looking okay. All right, so no ASIN came up for that. So that makes me question whether it's pulling accurate data. All right, so this is showing you the limitations of AI. I'm not a big fan of AI, and I'm giving a presentation on how to use it. And here is a limitation to showcase this. So to get around that, I'm going to type in shopping trolley, and then I'm going to use Helium 10 to show me the data from X-ray. Right. So here is an example of why you're going to need a secondary tool. You can't just rely straight up on AI. Okay, so $1.1 million category. And in here, we can grab some ASINs. So I can export this list. I could port it over into Cerebro. So that's exactly what I want to do, although this is grayed out for some reason. So let me see if I have to select them first. That's why. All right, so we're going to grab just the top 10, whatever showed up here, and we're going to port that over to Cerebro. And then this list, we're going to go back into AI and have it do some grunt work for us, which is kind of cool to see the end results. One of those things that we're going to do is set up the title, the bullets, and some alt text keywords. Okay, so we'll prime the pump here and say using the top 50 search volume keywords without using a trademark name, so we don't accidentally do that. Create a title, bullet points. We'll stick to just basic. Create a title first, okay, and polling from would probably be the best way to do this prompt. Polling from the top 50 search volume keywords without a trademark name. Create a title and emphasize key features that mention solutions to the complaints, like the quality, while emphasizing the search volumes, right? Nice thing about this, I don't have to fix my typos as I'm doing this live. So in Cerebro, we've got the keyword list. There's 9,000 keywords on this filtered list. I'm going to hit export. I'm going to send this to a CSV file, and I'm going to hit download. And then I can take this and I can go back over to Perplexity and I can upload the list. Okay, so I'm going to hit upload. Let's assuming, yep, that looks good. And let's see what it pulls back. Okay, so now this is giving us a title: heavy duty folding shopping cart with durable wheels, collapsible grocery trolley for stairs, large capacity portable utility cart with sturdy frame and removable waterproof bag. That's not half bad. So something that I do think AI does well is coming up with a first draft title. It justifies the answer. I like that. The other thing I really like about the Perplexity tool is it cites sources and it gives you like related questions you can ask, which is always helpful. Cool. So now we're going to say writing 5 bullet points with 200 to 250 characters per bullet point. Use the same keyword list, but focus top 50 keywords. And let's see what it pulls out. Okay. So nice thing about this, we've got the keywords in the emphasis areas. We've got the explanations. We got the feature. It talks about squeaky, flimsy wheels. So now we have the feature tie-in, boom, boom, boom. Love all of this. Okay. So now let's do keywords. So there's one way you could do this using Cerebro. You could go over to Frankenstein and apply this and do something like that. Let's see how AI does. Let's run it right here. So using Stephen Pope's My Amazon Guy SEO framework, set the 250 characters of search terms for this product. Let's see if it knows how to search my own algorithm and set up the keywords for this. Okay. Cart, shopping, grocery, folding wheels, trolley, collapsible, foldable, rolling bag wheel, hand basket. This is in line with my SOPs. Spot on. I release a lot of public information about the search terms. Here's its reasoning. High frequency avoids repetition. That's part of my framework. Don't repeat the same word twice in the search term field. Excludes brand names, stays within the limit. Accurate. Here's something that Perplexity did well. Okay, so then now we're going to get really creative. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to, I'm going to export this data over to Frankenstein. And I'm going to run the process just for speed's sake. You could probably make AI do this, but this is just built for what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to copy the Frankenstein. What this did is it got rid of all the repeating words. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to Perplexity and I'm going to say, hey, I need 100 characters of alt text using Stephen Pope's My Amazon Guy alt text SOPs framework. Using the attached words, spit out 25 examples of 100 characters each to maximize my photo SEO on Amazon. Okay, we're going to paste that in and boom, see what this looks like. And now all of the work to set the alt text for photos on Amazon is done right here. And compact utility cart with removable liner, collapsible design for groceries and household tasks. I would say this is going to need a little bit of tweaking because it's using superfluous words like with, for, it's got commas. So AI came up short here. Sometimes when I do this, it gets it perfect. So I'm going to just give it a little bit of more context. Remove commas. Don't use actual sentences. Just use keywords from the list I provided and rerun. And let's see if it can fix it up. I like showcasing where the limitations are because you have to like re-ask it, reprompt it, fix it up, get it done there. So now we have folding shop, cart, wheels, grocery, heavy duty, collapsible trolley, laundry, stairs. Boom. That's perfect. Now, where would I use this? So let's go over into a live listing to demonstrate this. I don't want to click on somebody's ad live here, so I'll just click on the first organic one. We got 20,000 reviews on this product, probably a legit product. And as I scroll down, they have no text in their A+ content, so they don't follow my suggestions. But each of these photos has alt text, working on your yard or shopping for groceries with your trolley dolly. So these guys have very minimal SEO value. They don't have optimized alt text. They're using superfluous words. And where you would put this copy that we just made, folding shopping cart, wheels, grocery, heavy duty, collapsible trolley, laundry, stairs, portable, would be directly into the alt text of any one of these photos. Now, you want to get a little bit more creative. Give me 200 characters split in half for 2 photos of the top misspellings and another 2 for Spanish keywords with highest volumes. Okay. So I also recommend using Spanish and misspellings. So then the best place to put these would be inside of alt text. Okay, so here's the top misspellings. It gave me more than I asked for. So it gave me 25 example sets, and we only want to use like 2. But it looks like it's repeating. So it looks like I broke the AI right here. But in any case, we could take the Spanish example, put that in 1 photo. The misspellings, I'd probably have in at least 2 photos. And their A+ content here is so limited. They don't have a lot of modules. So I recommend a higher module A+ content to implement this into. They also don't have a brand story. So for those that don't know what a brand story is, I'll demonstrate that real quick by clicking on an Age of Sage soap product. which I made for my 5-year-old daughter. And in here, you can see lots of crawlable text, all of these photos, alt text galore, lots of places to hide misspellings and Spanish. And then this is premium A+ content. We scroll down here, lots of text that's crawlable, lots of different photos, lots of different modules, and even the product grid modules. You can set custom alt text inside of there. So we've proven that AI can do certain things and it can't do others. And here is how you can engage it to do mass quantity data with SEO. It came up short in certain aspects. You have to rework the prompt a little bit. Might still have to have a keyword tool like we showcased here just to keep yourself sane. Might have to figure out the ASIN list without the AI before you get it there. But I like showcasing where we are today with AI and showing its limitations. Okay, so we got final title, final bullets that you could then take to your copywriter and say, hey, take this and massage it better, make it better, customize it. But the keyword data that we see on screen today is usable almost as is. Very minimal massaging required. You could do some gut checks to see how it did or whatnot. So that is my presentation. If you want to ask me any questions today, we're going to be happy to answer any of those. I think Brian's going to present first before we do questions, but please start putting them in the comments. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, we already have some, I think, one question. And yeah, Lucas says, great job with artificial intelligence. We can work fast and maintain high quality. So let's bring Brian back to the stage and let's continue the conversation about AI. And maybe you can share your screen, Brian, and let's go.
All right.
So see you soon, Stephen.
All right. Thank you.
There we go.
And yeah, meanwhile, everyone who is watching, please hit like and if you enjoy the content. So yeah, we see your screen.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue the conversation that Stephen started as far as being able to kind of, in other words, he was adding in a lot of related search terms and terminology into the product listing. The idea there is to improve the SEO, improve indexing, and ideally get found and ranked, for a lot more of those search terms. But the next question on this is that, okay, how do we actually confirm? It's like, cool, we got the setup. Now, how do we actually confirm what worked and what didn't so that we can study and improve and kind of go through this iterative process? So what I'm going to go through is how we do this. I'm actually going to, there's a couple of things I'm going to put in here as a prerequisite on this. One of them, you're going to need some kind of AI tool, probably going to be a paid version. I'm going to show ChatGPT 4. I use both 4 and 4.0 on this one. 4 mini did not work because it doesn't allow you to upload files. The same problem with Gemini as far as uploading files. Claude Pro would support this as well, but that's also a paid language model. The other one is a free one, and that's going to be the Seller Central Utilities Chrome extension, which is funny enough is very similar to one that we had, my own company had developed in-house, but then Yuri had created this Chrome extension, and now I use it because frankly it works better. So this one is for free. I'll show you in a couple of slides here where you get that, but it is the Seller Central Utilities Chrome extension. This is going to allow us to download in bulk, kind of do a bulk download of search query performance reports from your Seller Central brand analytics that will allow us to study how things show, how the terms that Stephen was teaching, putting into the A+ content, that we want to see, okay, is it actually reflecting back on the search query reports? So the first thing we're going to do, collect the time series report. In other words, collect the reporting that we need to in order to analyze, which is going to be the search query reports. We're going to then use AI in order to analyze those together. You could use, certainly I've used in the past things like, if you're really good at Excel pivot tables, you could probably accomplish the same thing without the need of using AI. But I'm going to show ChatGPT use in here in order to show you how quickly and easy it is in order to get reports from this, and then observe the insights and see how does it line up with the intent behind what Stephen was teaching as far as implementing, stuffing a lot of related words into the A+ content is a great way to get indexed for a lot more a variety of search terms. So we want to see, how does that actually reflect? Did Amazon like what we did and pick it up and actually starting to show our products on those search terms? So just a little kind of a backup. There is, I'm going to interchange the term as far as search click, search sales, some of these. Ultimately, most people know that as organic. Technically, it's not correct, but we're talking about semantics at this point. The search clicks are, like, for instance, if a shopper searches on Amazon, it's going to bring back the search grid, which is the combination of sponsored ads as well as the organic search results, or the natural search results. And what we're referring to as search clicks. If somebody clicks through onto that product, to their product listing, that's what we call a search click, as long as it's not one of the sponsored ads. So essentially, it's somebody clicks through onto anything in search results, but it is not sponsored. That is going to be a search click, or what you may consider to be organic click. This is probably one you want to take a screenshot of. So I'll leave this up here for a second. This is the Seller Central Utilities Chrome extension. This is not mine. Again, I've got no connection. I just like using. I'm a fan of the tool. I like what Yuri built. So I went ahead and created like a little Bitly extension there that'll take you right over to Chrome Store. I use it in either Chrome or in Microsoft Edge. Works fine in both. There's also the QR code if you want to shoot it from your phone. All right, let's jump in. So assuming that you are logged in to your Seller Central account, assuming that you have already made some modifications as far as the search phrases and search words per what Stephen's method was, and you already know which products and which ASINs that you put those into, which child ASINs that you put those changes into. Now we want to measure what changed before and after that that change occurred in A+, and then keep doing it over time to see, how does it grow? Does it continue to increase? Do I get visibility and clicks on more and more of these search terms that I've put into the A+ content, so that I can get higher visibility, so that I can get greater sales, potentially, is what we're going after. Okay. On the right-hand side is simply just the sidebar that shows up when you're running the Seller Central Utilities Chrome extension. This is the SQP fetcher. And so what this allows us to do is, this is primarily used in order to pull kind of a bulk way of pulling search query performance reports, which, if you are already familiar with in Seller Centrals and brand analytics, your search query performance will report on the search grid data. In other words, the non-sponsored search grid search results. So it's not, you're not talking about sponsored data. You're not talking about clicks on through subpages or direct navigation from off Amazon. This is strictly just the search terms shoppers use. It's going to get reported inside of the search query performance. It is, there's some other limitations on it, but I'm not going to get into too much detail on that just for the sake of time. But what we want to do is, if we're using the Chrome extension, we're already logged into our Seller Central account. Into the ASIN field, we're gonna copy paste, or we're gonna type out the list of ASINs. I've done 180 ASINs on this in one time. And while it took a while, it didn't choke, which is a good sign of a good Chrome extension. And so you can do a massive list and pull a large report. The limitation that you have is going to be on the next step is, will the language model like ChatGPT or Claude, is the account that you paid for, is it going to allow a large file, or is it going to have a restriction? That's going to be your biggest challenge if you're using a language model in order to analyze it. But in this case here, I'm setting it for United States. It'll actually handle multiple marketplaces around the world. I prefer just to throw everything into one CSV file. So all the ASINs that I put in here, I want it to compile all the search query performance reports for all the weeks that I've selected. Now, in this case here, what I'm looking at is, because I want to see, there's You can do weekly, you can do monthly, you can do quarterly. There's a lot of different ways that you can use this kind of a Chrome extension. And we do certainly over at DeepM, we use it in a lot of different ways for long-term analysis, seasonality, all that kind of stuff. And the way that I would recommend that you do it here is take maybe the first couple of weeks prior to you implementing the changes that Stephen was talking about, and then start doing it the first week and then the second week and third weeks. In other words, the first time you do it, maybe you've got 3 weeks of data you selected, but maybe, a month from now, you've got 7 weeks that you've selected. That way you can see what happens over time, and you can see which search terms are bubbling up to the top or which ones are problematic. I'm going to show you how to do that next. In this particular case, I had these 3 ASINs for these 4 weeks. It probably ran for less than 5 minutes before it generated a single report. That single report, as we can see down at the bottom here, is titled Multi-ASIN SQP Data, and then like a date code. Okay, so you want to know where that's going to save to wherever your default is. I know on my Mac, it's going to save just to the downloads folder, right? If I was on Windows, there's probably the similar kind of downloads folder that you can get to. So now we're going to shift gears. We're going to go over, I logged into my ChatGPT paid account, and it's like $20 per month for a paid ChatGPT. So I open that up. I'm going to upload that CSV file that I just pulled down using the Chrome extension. And then I'm going to add in this specific prompt. Here's another screenshot. If you want to message me through LinkedIn, I can copy paste this. I know I hate retyping these things out. So take a screenshot of this so that you have the prompt, but message me on LinkedIn if you just want me to just give it to you and just say like, oh, here, I'll give you both. Because there's another one coming up here. What this is going to do is it's going to upload and pick up that CSV file that includes multi-week search query performance data. And I'm specifically asking it to check for how do the clicks change for each of my the ASINs that I put in there, for each of the products that I put in there. How does it change from week to week? The idea being is that I followed Stephen's process. I added in all kinds of new content. What difference did it make to actual search results, right? Am I showing up more? Am I actually getting more engagement, more clicks from consumers? That would be really good to know, right? So we go beyond a setup practice to actually being able to verify, yes, in fact, here's what's working in that action that I took. So I'll just kind of show you an example of what this brought back. This brings back a really basic table. It says, okay, for each of the ASINs, here's the count per week. I could do a line chart if I wanted to, although ChatGPT struggles with line charts sometimes, to be quite honest. And so I just did a table here. And what I'm looking for is, okay, what's the net change over time before I started this versus after I implemented these content changes. You can do that with any kind of content change that you want or any kind of modifications you do to your product listing. You could do the same kind of process. It doesn't have to be Stephen's process, but I think that's a really good one to start with. Okay. So you're looking for what's positive, what's not. Sometimes you got to be patient. I have seen plenty of times where we want to have changes where we want to have our product index and start showing up and ranking in a matter of a couple of weeks. And what we have found through a very heavy data analysis over a lot of accounts, a lot of products, is Amazon likes to slow play some of the search result data. Now, you run ads, it'll show up right away, right? And you can see the click through on PPC ads, for instance. But when it comes to search, it likes to slow play it, doesn't trust you. We've seen where that is pretty commonly about 6 weeks out. So there's an amount of patience that you got to have on this. Don't expect in the first week or two that things are just going to skyrocket and just take off, right? Keep monitoring, get past that 6 week, and then really go and look at it. I'm not saying wait, but I'm saying make sure you stick with it well beyond the 6 week mark, because that's when Amazon A9 really starts kicking in giving you credit for sticking with your targeting in your product content. beyond the 6-week mark, right? It wants you to be patient. Now, the second thing I'll do, and again, like I said, you can message me on LinkedIn to get, for me to just copy and paste the second one. Otherwise, take a screenshot of this. This is going to go a little bit deeper, right? Second layer on this, part 2. And this is, okay, simplify this. Tell me what at a search term level per product, what improved the most and what went the opposite direction. What's my best 5 and what's my worst 5 as far as search terms? Search query performance reports have, they'll have a couple of hundred search terms typically. What I'm looking at right now is what can I take action on, or what should I be aware of right now? Now, if I wanted to see the entire list, simply just remove including the top 5 positive and the bottom 5 negative, right? And the rest of it will spit out the whole list, right? This is kind of what it looks like. 2 parts, because I put in 2 ASINs in this example here, top and bottom, and it's showing the columns are week over week. The 2 weeks before made content changes, and then plus a 1 week after. And for each search term, I can see, okay, here's my top 5, here's my bottom 5. I've got 5 search terms on the first ASIN that increase slightly in the clicks. In other words, the engagement from shoppers seeing it in search, which is what we want, right? And I'm going to keep tracking this for the next couple of months on a weekly basis because I want to see how it evolves over time. It's great education to be able to see that with your own products. Conversely, if something went negative, maybe it's like, wait a minute, that's one of my top search terms. Maybe I accidentally overwrote one of my keywords or my key search terms in one of the content fields that I need to go back and add back in. So it's kind of a safety net, if you will. That was it. I was going to say so again, I'll go back and do this on a weekly basis. I might modify the prompt in order to, more expansive. The third one, I didn't put it into this one here just for the sake of time. The third one that I have used is to have a prompt that breaks it up so that you can say, okay, show me on a per word. So not just the full search phrase, but break it down so that it shows me on a per word, how did the clicks increase across all the search terms that included that word, right? That's kind of a cool way of handling it. So there's a lot of tricks you can do that way to implement what Stephen was teaching, and then to be able to recognize on the back end, did it actually change the visibility and the engagement of your shopping audience on each of your products based off of those changes? So it's a great way to validate that it worked.
Great. Thank you very much, Brian. I will make your slide one more time big. There is a small, a small font email address. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's just brian.johnson@deepm.ai. DeepM is my new technology company.
Yeah, cool.
But you can also get me on LinkedIn, Brian R. Johnson -Amazon.
Great. We have few questions in the line. I wanted to mention that, as part of the Seller Fest Online event, we also created a VIP package, which you can get if you follow the link, which you'll find in the description. And I will also put the link here.
Brian, I got to say, that was a legit cowboy hat pick.
Yeah.
you do it justice.
Thank you.
All right. So if you want to get access to our VIP package, follow the link below in the description. And in this package, we asked 40 experts in the Amazon industry to give additional value to you as an Amazon seller with different strategies, templates, walkthroughs, analysis of different algorithms and listings. And I wanted to ask Stephen to introduce what you talked in additional session. It was about CTR. Maybe you can give a short overview. I know you do a lot of videos. I don't know if you remember what you made here.
Yeah, that's setting him up.
So I had, lots of examples of how I follow some good processes, and then the results, which followed best practices, failed, and I got worse results. So sometimes you got to showcase failure. I think showing failure is just as necessary as showing success. And I think following the failures of successful guys is even better, right? Because I've done a lot of good things. I got a good reputation. I've got a lot of successful things that have gone on, but I've also failed almost as much as I've succeeded. So I'm not afraid to share my shortcomings. I've had a lot of challenges with Amazon. I shipped in a hot sauce bottle to Amazon, and they shipped it out in padded envelopes. So I got that logistics question wrong. Amazon yanked my Tumblr business, had trouble with that. I've had my brand registry removed. I've made all kinds of mistakes. And so that video that I shot is a good case example showcasing how CTR failed. My CTR main image hack failed. Usually it succeeds, but this was an instance where it failed. So you guys are going to want to check that out.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. And Brian, maybe you can give a short overview about your video.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I was talking about is essentially unlocking search sales or organic sales. So this is taking, for those who have never really understood, like I know that the community in general focuses on metrics like tacos to say like, oh, it's, the ad spend relative to the total sales, but they don't really know. Most of what's taught is how do I reduce my ad spend so that my tacos percentage gets better. Instead, the angle I'm taking is how do you actually increase your search sales or your organic sales and literally have control over that. And so I'm going to go through a number of tactics in order to increase your search sales and use essentially use competitive intelligence in order to dominate market share and actually have a measurable increase on not just ad sales, but on search sales as well, so that you can actually lift the organic sales side of the tacos formula.
All right, great. Thank you very much. And once again, you will find the link in the description. And now let's go to the questions. Yeah, we have a few questions here. So, Doc Asar was asking about Perplexity, which Steven showed. Is this developed by Amazon guy? And
Nope. So this is a newer AI tool. John Aspinall, who used to be a MAG employee, he graduated. He brought me on to Perplexity. The nice thing about Perplexity is it cites its sources so that when the data is bogus, you can go look at the real sources and figure stuff out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fake data gets put into AI, which Leon in the comments pointed out. I did a year ago try to make a Pope AI or a MAG AI bot, and nobody wanted to use it. So I think we discontinued that. I test a lot of different things. There's another failure to add to the list, right? Tried to do AI. This is a great tool. I'd say I'd put it right up there with the ChatGPT-4, with Claude, and a few others that are up and coming. I don't know who's going to win the AI race. And a year from now, this will all probably be old school moot, and they'll have something new. But we'll see what happens.
All right, great. Thank you. Let's check another one. Can we get the prompt sheet sequence? So I think we added the link to Steven's prompts in the chat, and we'll keep it also in the description. Levi is asking why use misspellings if Amazon accounts for them? Is it solely for search engine inquiries?
They don't account for all of them.
Not only do they not account for all of them, but I also find the exact match outperforms, right? So anybody who's done SEO and PPC for a long time at Amazon knows this, that exact match in your bid, exact match in your title outperforms. That doesn't mean you can't have some cursory benefits, but if the robots and the algorithm are looking at two listings, and on listing A, there's an exact match, and on listing 2, there's not an exact match, which one is it going to rank higher if all of the things are equal? Survey says the exact match is going to win that if all things are equal. So there's just a lot of opportunity to hit things that nobody else is paying attention to. And if Levi, if you were correct that they already account for them, then why would be putting Spanish alt text in, which auto translates supposedly by Amazon's bots? Why would be putting Spanish alt text in helping me get to rank 1 on some keywords? So that's why we're seeing like it's necessary to use misspellings in Spanish and exact match.
All right. We have a question about Cosmos and Rufus. Is it going to significantly change how SEO works on Amazon? How do we prepare our listings for these changes?
That was actually
Brian?
a separate talk earlier today, right?
Yeah, we talked about Rufus and Cosmo. I don't know if you have your opinion about that.
So, Brian, you might have a bigger opinion, but I'll just give a soft one here. I don't know. Like it's too early to tell. I have seen commotion or people talk about how they have to program for AI, but at this stage, I think it's too early to make any conclusions.
Yeah, my point of view on it is because I'm focusing in on what the search rank factors are that products compete against each other, competitors, essentially compete against each other in the search results. I don't care, frankly, because I'm just going to look at the data and analyze it in bulk and say, okay, who has an advantage because they've tweaked something, one of the, because there's over 30 search rank factors. Any one of those could be changed if it has to do with, the relevance of a specific content field because of a change from, Rufus or Cosmo, like as far as with the images and everything. That will reflect across those that get the benefit. We'll see that they got the benefit from that change, and then obviously we can adjust based off of that. So I'm not concerned about it.
All right, cool. I think we have another question for Brian. How do you make sure what you're inputting isn't being shared to others for machine learning? I want to automate sales recaps in ChatGPT, but I'm a bit comfortable loading sales data.
Probably the best thing on that one, to be a smart ass, I would say don't use a computer. That would probably be the easiest way to do that. You could certainly clean the data before you upload it and put in fake ASINs or something, or some kind of reference code that doesn't tie back to a specific product, but it's unlikely that anybody's going to care about an individual brand. Now, I certainly understand, having been in the agency space for a number of years, glad to be retired from that. I know that you've got to be even more sensitive to a client's data and their data security, and rightly so. And so in those cases, there is a chance that it gets put into, I guess, the pool. But I would say as long as you're not publishing it and leaving it out there for it to be scraped at a later date, it probably is going to be inconsequential. So, but a workaround on that is, download the spreadsheet and replace everything that matters with some kind of a reference code that only you know what that means.
All right, we have another question by Levi. What are your thoughts on using alt text the way you did for A+ versus how we are learning yesterday, with using it to describe your photos, as its main use is for the disabled? Is there a merit in marrying?
The original use was for the disabled, yes. But frankly, if you want to, the combination on that, and Stephen, you can certainly speak on this, is that use the first 2 or 3 words to describe the image for the disabled, and then use everything else to keyword stuff.
I think that's a great solution. But at the end of the day, there are so many more powerful tools. Like there are disabled assistant tools that can actually tell you what the image really actually does and says. And we'll probably see Amazon's algorithm adopt that. And then alt text won't be as critical when that happens. And then the actual things inside of the image will have SEO ranking juice. I'm actually surprised that hasn't happened already. It probably hasn't, just because of the sheer volume or scale that has to be done. But the tech is actually ready to do that. Most AI tools that we have access to, on the $20 a month scale, are bad at making images. They all, like, you can see an image and you immediately know it's made by AI. But a year from now, 2 years from now, we won't be able to tell the difference. The deepfake power is going to be there. So if deepfakes are good, then reading images will also be as good. And we'll see SEO algorithms update to take into account that. But I think most of the things that I talked about today are going to work for 2 to 5 years minimum, maybe even longer. And we come out with a new SEO phase every so often. Brian talked about the brand analytics today. I'm a huge component of brand analytics. I tout the ICAP marketing funnel of impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases. And when you focus on those metrics and those KPIs, especially the data that Amazon provides you direct, you're just going to be better off. And so great question, Levi. But, unfortunately, here's my opinion. Text is for robots. Images are for people. And you're going to need supplemental tools for somebody that can't see the images in that sense.
All right. Another question from Bakasar. Could you recommend any current ASIN you have worked on or seen that does a job in terms of how the SEO hacks are properly addressed in the listings, and especially brand story A+?
So the one I presented today, the Age of Sage listing, it's public. You can just type in amazon.com/Age of Sage. I have my screen up if you want me to just briefly put it on screen here again. So this soup to nuts, everything I talked about is implemented, even in the image stack. The CTR main image hack is present, the title, the variations, the bullets, the brand story. The most important thing about brand story is take up as much space as you possibly can. Why? Because when you scroll up, you see all these competitors, and you don't want to see Dr. Squatch, you want to see Age of Sage, right? So, and then the alt text goes behind every single one of those photos. And then you get the A+ content down here. I recommend premium A+ content. Take the time to upgrade to it. And then the most important module in A+ content is the product grid, where you compare and contrast products. Why? Because you can link to other products, you can increase your AOV, and you can get lots of text in there with keyword stuffing. So those are things I would check out.
Stephen, which Chrome extension or what tool are you using in order to easily see all your alt text?
Yeah, if you go into any Chrome, Google Play Store or whatnot, just type in image alt text viewer. It's free. And then it's, button click on off, makes it really easy to go look at your competitors' data.
Nice.
Most tools can do this. You can also, if you don't want to use a tool, you can right click view source code in Chrome and see it as well. But that just makes it super easy and fast.
Yeah, it's probably like a disability or a accessibility feature.
It is. Right. Yeah, image alt text viewer is the official name, by the way.
Image.
There you go.
There you go, David.
Answered.
All right, great. Thank you very much, guys, Stephen and Brian. So let's finish by telling a little bit what you do one more time so that people can connect. So let's start with Stephen, and then...
so I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. We manage about $1 billion on Amazon, and everything we do is to grow sales. So 2 ways we do that: traffic and conversion. So under traffic, you got PPC, SEO, and CTR, that's click-through rate. We're big proponents on fixing up main images. And then on the conversion side, you have design, troubleshooting, merchandising. So we're a full-service digital agency that serves more than 400 brands on Amazon today. So if you guys are interested, check us out at myamazonguy.com.
Amazing. And now, Brian.
I'm not going to choke on this one. No. No. So most people were aware that I had co-founded the PPC Scope software, the Sponsor Products Academy, and Canopy Management. Since retired from each of those and moved on to my new passion, which is deepm.ai. And this is a competitive intelligence platform specifically for getting an unfair advantage in search rank.
Great. Thank you very much. Amazing. Thank you, Brian.
Can I give you a shout out too, Augustus? You just put on some of the best events. So anybody that's watching this for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Follow this dude around. If you get a chance to go to one of his live in-person events, I went to the Prague one last year. Fantastic. Yeah. So this is a guy
like live ones also.
Need to get on his newsletter, need to get subscribed to his channel. Throw down a comment if you like what Augustus does, because I think he's an incredible person. It's all of us against Amazon, not me against you. It's all of us versus Amazon. This guy represents that.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Well said.
Thanks.
Cheers,
for
guys.
Compliments. Bye-bye, Brian. Bye, Stephen.
Cheers.
And now I would like to invite you to watch other video where other two experts are sharing what they have learned about Rufus and Cosmos. It's two AI-driven agents created by Amazon. So check this out.